Have you ever noticed that when you try to break an old habit in order to win a bet, it turns out to be more stressful than you thought? Well, that's what Lincoln and his sisters found out in the episode I'm going to talk about today. So join me as I, SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, bring you another retro review from past seasons of The Loud House. Cue the intro. Today's episode is Undie Pressure. In this episode, Lincoln makes a bet with his sisters to see how long they can go without performing any one of their annoying habits. Some interesting pieces of trivia are that most of the episode takes place in the family living room, and this marks Bobby's first physical appearance in the series. Anyway, Lola was the first one to call out her brother's annoying habit, and then he pointed out everyone else's, which led to them making a wager. If the girls could stop doing their habits longer than Lincoln could stop doing his, he would have to give up reading comics in his underwear forever. But if Lincoln could outlast the girls, they would never again complain about his habit, and they would also have to buy him some new victory undies. As a quick side note to Lincoln's habit, this episode contains an inconsistency. He says reading comics with his clothes on makes him feel uncomfortable, but other first season episodes, including The Sweet Spot, The Loudest Yard, and Funny Business, feature him reading his comics fully clothed with no issue. For the most part, Lincoln's unusual habit is a little more prominent in other season 1 episodes like Sound of Silence and Changing the Baby, so I guess this episode tried to establish a reoccurring standard, which undoubtedly didn't last too long. But regardless, this story played out exactly as you would expect. One by one, each of the girls tried to resist giving into a habit the other siblings find either stupid, crazy, or in some cases downright disgusting, and they ultimately get eliminated as a result. Each habit is a pretty accurate reflection of their individual characters, like Lynn turning anything she does into a sport, and Lucy scaring people by popping up out of nowhere. Some of my favorite moments included a few of the girls, particularly Luann and Lola, driving themselves crazy trying to not give in to their habit but can no longer control the urge. Between her and her brother, Lola definitely stole the show when she finally went off the deep end trying to break Lincoln without breaking herself. She did, however, eventually break down thanks to Lincoln pulling the same underhanded methods Lola tried to pull, and that's when he assumed he won the bet. This is where the biggest plot hole comes in. Lincoln didn't really lose the bet because the bet was he couldn't read comics in his underwear. He did rip his pants off after Lola eliminated herself, but he still had his shirt on and he wasn't reading any comics either. In fairness, the bet should have continued, but it was called off after the girls declared Lily as the winner since she didn't break into her usual habit of crying. Something I legitimately forgot the first time I was watching the episode. So yeah, Lincoln lost the bet even though he didn't break the stipulation. Still, Lola felt bad for her brother and decided to buy him the victory undies anyway, since she came to realize that she and her sisters can't give up their habits and it wouldn't be fair to force their brother to give up his. Basically, the episode wanted to teach the lesson that everyone should learn to accept someone else's habits no matter how you may feel about them, but in my opinion, I don't think accept would be the right word. Acceptance would mean you have to put up with something without any complaints or trying to ask someone to change, and sometimes there are certain habits you simply can't accept someone doing for one reason or another. I don't think I even need to explain that one. Lola should have used the word tolerate because tolerance means you don't necessarily like what someone is doing, but you're more willing to put up with it the best you can. For example, the kids could just go into a different room if they don't want to hear Luna talking with a British or Swedish accent, or listening to Lenny use the word like in every sentence. You may not enjoy what they're doing, but you're not going to force them to change just to keep yourself satisfied since their habit isn't really hurting anybody. I still understood what they were trying to say, so I'm not extremely critical of the intended messaging. Overall, this episode was very simple yet effective. The characters highlighted certain aspects of their individual personalities in a very entertaining fashion, and despite the contrived way their bet ended, the story still offered a good lesson on learning to deal with the many strange habits people may have, and I guess you have a better chance at making the most of expressing those habits when you're surrounded by your loved ones. And 2,000 thread count underpants. With that said, I give Undie Pressure a 9.4 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Undie Pressure. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.